So let's start here on page Rash Yud. That's where I think we're at. Let me bring this up a little bit. There. Just reading across the top, it says Ve'inyan Rayo al Rayo Azaz. So we're talking about the Rayo. Azaz. Aim Shloshach Avayas the Milu Isag was a gematria 189. And he said Ve'im Aser Osios Amilui Hare Og. It makes 70, the number 73. So you're going to get to 3 times 73. Hine Shlosha Pamim Ag. He says it's Rayo. Actually, it's not. It's 219. Ki ha'alef im yuseres b'kol havaya, because he says, what do you do? He says there's an aleph. I think he means an aleph that's left over, and each one of those havayas mehem hu b'chinas ha'klalos shabo. Maybe we should read number pay and try to help us out a little bit, and then we'll come over, hopefully, and get to this. Did we learn that? We learned this already? I didn't make a good marking here. So let's read anyway. So he wants to say the shefa is relative to this word rayo. We call prat to prat, every single prat. Now I don't know what he meant by that, of every single prat. Right, Olam Rayo. So that's the shefa, the Gevuros. That's what his words, the shefa HaGevuros, he says, is 3 avs. Av, of course, on the side of chesed, and that's always a problem for me to understand it. So then through Zer Anpin, Meromas Ba'oz Yisrael, also Zerayo. V'chein HaMalchus Shesham Nishbech HaShefa, Shehi Sod Yud Beis Osius, Demitli, the Shem Adni, Yachad Im Tevis Baruch Olim Rayo. So that makes no sense. He says, I don't know if you could make sense out of it. V'chein HaMalchus Shesham Nishbech HaShefa, Shehi Sod Yud Beis Osius, Amilui, the Shem Adni. So that's the name Adni. And he says, if you put it together with the word Baruch, it comes to gematria of Rayo. That doesn't add up. Now, maybe there's something else I'm missing here. So, not sure. So, now where we're actually at is number Pei Daled, and I'm going to skip over to Pei Gimel. Mehem hu b'chinas haklal shabo. So we said that we took, and one of the questions that I had that I'm looking for an answer is these combinations that he does, that he makes. You know, it always begs my imagination to try to figure out why, in other words, how you can take a 72 or 73 and you add the 10 letters onto it. What does adding the 10 letters onto it do? Obviously, it makes it into 73, but that's what he's doing. So if you add them up, they come to 219. So he says, because those nechshavim the cheshbon raya, but in any case, they're considered to be a raya. Now, why would you do that? So the question is, what 3 extra ones are there? That corresponds to that idea. Because each one of the 3 chavayas the sag, it has an aspect which is a kolel to it, a root to it. But it's a root. So, excuse me, not ein kol elu nechshavos. No, he says ein shlosha koladim elu nechshavos the minyan raya. So we don't count them. Okay, so that's a trick of the trade in some way, and I guess I am trying to understand this, trying to get help in understanding how he uses these tools to get to Rayo. Then he said, now this is the little piece I sent you that comes from the letter Aleph Me'ekya, the Milui Hayan Shivabina. So he says, so let's see. Yesh oven noisif ketzad meramezes imer the bechinas raya. So here's another way we can understand. You see it 216 in Ima. They all come from the os aleph. Now, what's this all about? So he said, so we know that there were three different levels of I think of it as one on top of the next, so of Kasakama Kana. So he said this is the lowest one. So you have that idea. He says that we're going to see it in the Rashash in a second. The Kavin Kigam Aleph Tziura, you could make it Tziur, could be like Yud Vav Resh, and he shows it to us. Hare Rayo, that's Rayo. Os Aleph, the Shem Ekye, he spells it out a little bit, but Milui Ahein Shibibina Mischalekes, the Shlosha Bechalokim, Achedek Elyon Sarasa Yud. V'achedek Soy, Sarasa Vav, V'achedek Tachton, Sarasa Resh, Resh Afucha. So at any rate, Benimsa Shibos Aleph Gufe, that itself, you have a Rayo in there. So let's read a little bit more, and we'll come back and look at the depiction in the Rashash. He said, so there's two other kind of arayos. So this rayo is starting way up. The first way is because the three havayos, Shlosha divides yesh be'iba shekol acha bechem he b'milui sag v'im eser osios milui hare aim ag. Marida b'menu was bechinas akol shabbos, which we said already this side, and you get av. And this way, that's the first way that we understand that we could get this rayo here. The other way is that you could say it like this. Okay, let's just say that's what it is before we get to the depiction. He says number page 9 says ato. It's on the word ato. You say the word ato. Ata tzarech lekaven ki achar shekavar nimshach bechinas das kal. So now in the first, I guess in the word baruch, you did that. B'hiyosach b'dayim b'sod nekuda, which is still just a dot. Ana tzarich and the says ba koach la'asos parts of shalom. So this is what we need to do. We need to be able to give her strength, power, energy. Achar kach, after that. So he says what? So he said, "La'ach sheshafa hadas and nekra kal nimshach betevas baruch l'malchus nimsas bebriya bebechin nekuda achas." So how do we bring this up? He says, "Srichin the says ba koach ayedech betevas atah." And what do we say about atah? That's where he said that you're going to bring in the 22 letters. Because they should tuchel achar kach, and that's going to give her strength. Shekasheta'ala the chasidah he yells parts of shalom shall eses spheros. So he said number peches if you need in parts in aza ala yedera be'osius kanoida. So he says it's a rule. That's which I'm not sure I knew that, but you need letters in order to be able. That's how they're made. The call almost nivro al yedei kaf beis asfan shebemalchus sheshecha bechem noitzra. That's where they're formed out of these letters. All the alamos. So he said, what's olomos? So just thinking parenthetically that olomos means their hiddenness. So the hiddennesses of the world are hidden, formed out and hidden out by the letters. L'hori lo kof zayin osius shehem kof base of the aleph base, and then also these extra letters of Yuseru shal mansepach, meaning Yisod is their anpen to come from the Sod of their anpen. He said, "Begedei l'seis koch benuch shetukul lehiyos parts of shalom yesh tzorch lahamshek alecha rasa osius." You have to stream down to her those letters she'al yadu naase parts of. So now we see we're showing this word atah. He osius at, so those two words, remezes al the kaf base. That's the aleph to tov. Osius me aleph ad tov. Okay, that's what he says. Os he meremezes al chamesh osius al kafulos, which are mansapach. So let's take a second here. I don't know exactly how this is going to correspond, but let's look at the drawing in the Rashash and try to see what the kavanah is here. So the Rashash says at the top. Okay, do you have that there, Rebbe?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Ma'alef the konet. The questions about that, which I guess he doesn't explain everything at one time. He says so. The aleph that's in the name konet, which we see right below it, the ima shetzaras arayo. So going back, is you have two different things that are stated by here that puzzle me, or maybe more than one. One is why we took the name Kana. Kana would be the most outside aspect of this light of Ima, which I always I'm assuming that the concept of Ekya refers to the Gar of Ima, or the core of Ima, more like that, whereas Sag refers to the Zat, or the expansion of it in some way. I think that we see that. Lahamshik me'elav the kona, so what we chose the bottom one, or the outside one, is kona, the ima, shetzaras rayo, which has this aleph, has this sur that you see there, which is a yud in the top and the vav in the middle and the resh, that's rayo. So this is generating this rayo. So he says, gimel sag, he said, shloshim os Yosef. Here's another case where you take the sags, and you take all the letters of the three sags, which is each one is 10. Ha'ola rayo. That'll also give you rayo. Okay, so I'm just going over in my mind. That's the constant question that I have is what is the technique here that we're using the 30 letters? That's a way to get to it. I don't have it spelled out in my mind, and he shows us down below the three rayos. Now, another question is where did you get the three rayos from? Is it the ones that tell us that there are, why three? Why not one? But he says three. So will we say something like this, that it's going down the three lines? I mean, I don't know. Then below that, he just shows you that this is the combination that's generated over here from Ima. And I think this has to do with what we're learning in the Sifra Tzniut also, is the making of the Kli. So at any rate, he says, so then you have the 30 letters, and now you have this number, this makes the number Rayo. Or this makes, let's see, you have is 189 plus 30 is 219, and I think that's right. 189 is 30 is 219, and then you said those roots, we take the roots away. That gives you 216. So where is it going? This is always the hardest part. It's going the three lines. So you have three sags that are going to the three lines. The hachan bagadate de ben de ma, but the ben de bina, and the bina de za. Let's just look at again the hachan bagadate de ben. Which ben? The ben of ma, but the ben. So it's the ben de ma or the ben. So in other words, the ben. It's that a ben would be the left-hand part of both the ben and both of the ma. The bina de za. So that's where it's going. These are going into the bina of Zer Anpin. They are coming from the bina of bina. They're coming from bina. And that's all of this is coming down. So the hamshik vok shel hamochim v'harayo, in order to flow down the vok, he says, and the mochin derayo. So here are the mochin, I guess is what he's showing us. These are the oros. I guess when he uses the word mochin, he means both. And I think the yud k on the bottom with the kasa, which also is confusing to me, but he says I think that's the moach. So you have these six, there's something like that. You have these six oros, sets of oros, and then you come down to this moach. This is the moach. This is the moach. Right? Those are the oros. This is the moach. And then he shows it again. Now, why he does that, I'm not sure. He says then you take the same thing. You have this aleph in the name Kone, and he shows you the osius again. This is also sag, and the number of letters. That's going to give you the 219, and as we said, we could subtract 3, and we make it 260. So, I guess part of my question that I keep asking is that how does he have Rashus? What is the Rashus to make these combinations and say that this is what? This is part of the formation of the parts of. You need these letters. Let's see how it goes. I don't know. All right, we lost Rebbe for a minute. Never easy over here in the Rashash. So keep struggling on this. Okay. So where is all this going now? I guess he showed it the development of it. I'm not sure exactly. It's just to see it a bunch of times to see if we could figure out the rest. He gets it's going to the Chabad Chagat the Ach. So it's definitely on the back side. The Chochma the Kesed the Bina. The Chochma the Kesed the Bina the Nuk. So like I always say, the way to understand this is really everything is going. All of this flow is going to the Nuk. So the question is what part of the Nuk is it going to? It's going to our Bina. I always read it backwards. I'll skip the brackets because it's just too much. It's the Bina of Bina, and that Bina is in Kesser, and that Kesser is the Kesser of Chochmah. But which part? It's only going to the back part, the Ach. Not sure what that means or how the symbolization. The Nuk Shehi. So this is the aspect of the Nuk that we're talking about. So here's the she is the Hey. She's the letter Hey. So ultimately, we're taking all of this 216, bringing it down to the letter Hey. Shetsuraso is like this, which is the number 210. Im Havov, together with that Vov, Naasa Rayo. So there's the Rayo. Now, what Vov is he talking about? But you need the letter Vov. The Oz Niten Ba Koech La'alos Bizakifos. So this means that when you're going to, we know that you bow down when you say Baruch and when you say Ata. So now you're bringing in the letters which we said before. You're bringing in the Rayo. He says you're bringing this Rayo. The Oz Niten Ba Koech La'alos Bizakifos. So now when you're going to do the Skifos, pour those letters in. He didn't say that. He said you pour the shefa in, which is these 3 sags, and on the oros and so on and so forth. He says as nekudas bebria lotzilo. So this gives the power to do that. And then he says, and ultimately the next thing is going to be this big hey. It's going to say lenuk. And then then he shows you this. If you take the letter Vav, I guess means that Zir Anpin is transporting this to the Nuk. That's the number Vav. The Gabe Hey, Rabbi this, I guess you would say, I call it, let's say, I don't know, Re, whatever it is, the number 210. Naasa Rayo, that's the Rayo. So you add the Hey is sitting there waiting for the Vav, and the Vav makes it into a Rayo. Now, again, going back to what I think we saw in the Sifra Tzniuta, that Rayo is really the name of the Kli of the Yesod of the Nukva. So this is being transported down towards her, something like that. That's not exactly what we're getting here. So he says, where are we being? Okay, so he says, Lahamshing bevok shuhu vov, and to extend from the vok, that's right, through vov shuhu zer anpin. Shisha oros miyud vov osia oros the lamed base the sivus the chelka. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with this idea. It's new to me. Shisham, so he says, excuse me, Shisha Oros, you take 6 lights from the 16 lights, which is half of the lights of the Lamed Bet, just tracking what I can understand of it, for the Lamed Ben the Chelko. So this, I assume it's talking about, this is the portion that goes to Zer Anpin, after it leaves its Lamed Beis Nesivos, are coming from Chochmah. So somehow it splits, and he has 16 of those lights, and you're taking 6 of the 16. I think I added that right. So you take all of that, you're flowing it down into the letter Hey, which has this surah of Daled Yud, or Resh Yud, Ben Asim Beis Vavim, and it makes 2 Vavim. Mispar Kof Beis, and Naasim Beis Vavim, which have a Beis Vavim, that have a gematria of 16, 22. Shehem Yud Vav Oros, the Helko, the portion that goes to Zer Anpin of the 32 Nesivos HaChochma, Belamed Meis Nesivos. Now, we learned something like about this somewhere there, I don't know, and I don't really remember it, or didn't know it, learn it right. I don't know. Wait for Rebbe to come back. I think we still have a couple more minutes, or are we out? I'm not sure. Well,